everyone. Welcome to this episode of my fellow CRE influencers. I am 1031 Broker James of Best 1031 Online. And today with me is a fellow influencer, none other than Aviva Sonenreich of the Warehouse Hotline. Hi, Aviva.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Oh, no, really. Thank you. You're so busy and up to so many things. I am more than grateful that you were able to make the time to join us on the show today.
Well, I have to throw flowers right back at you. I have a distinct memory of meeting you at MossmoCon, and I know the reason behind that is because of your fantastic branding as the 1031 Broker James. You get it. Most people don't get it. And I was very excited to meet you, understand what you do, which is 1031, and now get to chat with you. So great job. That's
Awesome.
why I have a company called the Warehouse Hotline, but we can get into that later.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of where we start. Is I ask everybody is, how'd you get your start in CRE?
Sure. It is certainly my family business, but my family, a couple generations of paternal figures in the industrial real estate industry here in Colorado, but they made me figure out my own way in the business by just kicking up deals and trying to run something through the finish line. So I started in tenant rep, right? Very naturally walking into stores where I knew it was getting torn down. And that's where we started with leasing and then now push on up to sales and drag somebody by their collar through the finish line this year in 2025. Just kidding, but not really. So.
Has it always been industrial?
Yeah, I've dabbled in office, could never get anything done in retail. And so I just decided to go back to what I know, leasing and selling boxes.
So your dad's been in the industry, so you basically grew up around it.
Yeah. And that's why I like to talk about it online and share with other people, because not everybody had the unbelievable fortune of having their family dinner time table every single night be about real estate and generational wealth and investing and transacting. And so the internet has changed the world and levels the playing field. And here we are.
So how long ago did you actually start doing it full time yourself?
Like 9 or 10 years.
Okay. So the reason why I asked that is because, obviously social media was around 9 or 10 years ago. Were you active in social media before you started your full-time commercial real estate career?
Yes, but in a different capacity. I was in a band. So I did my real estate by day, and then I was in a band by night, and I never posted anything about the real estate because I was posted about the band. And I just learned a lot about social media marketing, supply and demand in marketing, and it thankfully brought me to where I am today. I did not start posting social media content about commercial real estate until June of 2020. That's when I started.
Wow. So about 5 years is all.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into that, though, this band thing, this is news to me. I did not know that. So as a singer, or you play an instrument?
Sure. DJ and producer. So we produce music and then we would DJ it out.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a great little career, but got to lean into what you're good at. And I happen to be better at transacting commercial real estate than making music. So.
All right. Yeah. No, music is my thing. If I had not chosen sports over music when I was in junior high school, I have no doubt I'd be a professional musician today.
That's cool. What do you play?
Well, I don't play anything now, but I started with piano, then I played the saxophone, and then I played the guitar for a while.
Wow.
I sang in choir in junior high and high school, competed at state level. So
wow. That's cool.
See, we get to learn something else about each other that we just didn't know before.
Hey, love it.
Yes. So about 5 years ago,
Yes.
the reason why I asked that is because, as you know, I am a Massimo coach, and this community that we belong to that is now known as the CREI community that Ken Ashley and some of his friends have made into this amazing thing that we have this annual event every year now, the CREI Summit, which is coming up here in September 10th through the 12th in the Palm Desert. Probably only a third of the guys that I coach are active on social media. And there's still a tremendous amount of brokers that they just won't do it. They don't believe it. They don't think it's going to work. There's obviously plenty of evidence out there now that it clearly does. So you were doing social media for your band. What clicked with the real estate? What made you go, I should do it for this?
One of my best friends said, "What are you doing? Nobody in your industry talks about it. You would have such an easy time breaking through if you just talked about what you do every day." And I just listened. I said, "Oh my God, you're right." And so, and when we really started 5 years ago, I say we, that's me, myself, and I. When we started 5 years ago, there really wasn't much at all. It was like very, very few. Of course, I stuck to, I wasn't on LinkedIn at the time or Twitter, but there wasn't a lot of supply of commercial real estate content online, and there was demand. And I love studying marketing in my free time, and I understand that when you post content online, it has to be valuable to the consumer, or else the consumer will not want to consume your content. Value can either be monetary value, right? Learning, educational, funny, comedic. What I could provide was valuable information about leasing and selling real estate and commercial real estate. And so some people think, most people don't get it. Like they post the wrong type of social media content and it's more serving to them, self-serving. Right. But you need to post selfless content, and the more you give, the more you get.
How about that?
Yeah, crazy.
My experience is that a lot of brokers, they think that the reason why you do social media is because you do it to get business from it. So can that be a byproduct? It can. I'm sure you have a story or two, and pretty much everybody I talk to that is active in social media has some story there. Yes, I was found by, or the fact that I was present on social media made a difference in me winning an assignment, what have you. But to the point that you just made, that's not what it's about. It really is about differentiating yourself as an expert in your area, in your market. And it does help in the world of SEO, being found. I had Alan Buchanan on my show earlier this week, as well as BK was on the show. And, the three of us, we're old guys, been doing this. I've been in commercial real estate for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And I was somewhat slow to get to social media. I didn't get on Instagram until, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. I don't even think maybe. I was on Facebook. The one thing that I did right was I got on LinkedIn right away, and I built LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I'm close to 15,000 followers on LinkedIn, but I'm nowhere near that on Instagram and X and TikTok. However, I have noticed that since I've started putting more content on there, more followers are coming. So how about that? But getting back to, the reason why you do it, why you should do it is you said perfectly. It's, selfless content to provide value to people that, let's face it, a lot of people go online they'll believe something on social media before they'll believe somebody else, right?
Go out in public and just look around and look what people are doing. Get real close, look on their phone. Everybody is looking at social media all day, every day.
Yeah, it's actually one. Go ahead.
These brokers who don't want to post, like you said, probably 2/3 of 2 or 1/3, a lot of them don't want to post. It's like, it's only to my benefit that they don't, right? Makes it easier.
Right.
But it is such a layup to your own community, to your own network, and then the greater United States in a way that you could never comprehend. Like, it's such a layup that as a Massimo member, I do Massimo. I don't cold call. I don't do that. I don't need to do that. They come to me. And then I use my Massimo strategies to tag them and bag them. Just kidding. To sell your property at the highest dollar per square foot. Anyway.
No, that's awesome that you're able to, maintain a pipeline.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
without having to prospect or do those things, and being able to utilize your social media, which you've done very well with. Before we get deeper into that, I wanted to know that since you got started when you did in sharing your real estate experience and things on social media, do you have a story where you did get an assignment directly from social media?
Yes, and it happened to be a 1031. So let's talk about it.
Awesome.
I mean, I got a call I got connected by somebody, a mutual friend, to a gentleman in Florida who had a 1031 they had to satisfy. He had seen my content on social media, and he works in commercial real estate in a prop tech company. The incessant content led him to have our mutual friend connect us. He connects us. He's got this prop tech company and a $20 million 1031 that he has to satisfy.
Nice.
With a very specific buy box, like they all do, Well, we closed like less than a month ago, 2 buildings for a total of $9.56 million. He would never have seen me, contacted me, or even known I existed if I weren't on social media constantly, persistently. And I didn't even know he existed, right? Because he was all the way on the other side of the country. Posting on social media is networking while you sleep. I go to a networking event and I meet you at MassimoCon. I forget 90% of the people I interact with. I remember the 10% who can market themselves effectively, but then it's over. If I post a picture or a video or a picture on the internet and I go to sleep, it could be playing for years. They do play for years. It's compound interest for marketing, and it's free and it's powerful.
Yeah. Perfect example. I like that compound interest.
Yeah.
Using social media. Definitely.
So it's like I say, I wish my competition posted more, but I suppose it's all right that they don't.
Although in the world of social media influencers, in the world as far as commercial real estate concerns, I don't really think you have any competition, because I know you're more than 1 million followers on TikTok. I don't think anybody else in the commercial real estate space is anywhere near that many followers on TikTok. So I can't wait to hear how you did that. So you said you were already on Instagram. You started working in commercial real estate, but it's only been about 5 years that you started Instagram. When did you start TikTok?
That was 5 years ago. That was
at the same time.
Yeah, same time. I really started on TikTok. I knew that TikTok was an up and coming platform. That was pretty, to me, obvious. And the pandemic had happened, so our phones weren't ringing. And so I had nothing else to do. And I knew that was a great way to spend my time to build business in the long term. And commercial real estate is a long game. So if you're not in for the long game,
what are you in for?
It's gonna burn. But
so during that time when you're saying the phone wasn't ringing, so you were basically fine-tuning your skills of recording yourself and learning editing and doing all those things to make that content worth looking at.
Yeah. Like anything, learning curve, like anything, you're going to fall on your butt and fail. Like anything, something will hit that you never could have expected. Right. And then suddenly you got a kid calling you from Florida with a $20 million requirement, right? People want to know a sure thing, right? They want to know, I'm going to post 4 times and that's not the reality of success. That's not the reality of marketing. That's not the reality of commercial real estate. But as long as you just keep putting on your pants in the morning and taking the next step forward, eventually you will learn what to do, what not to do, what works, what doesn't work, etc.
Yeah.
So
Here's the thing with me and TikTok. And actually it was TikTok and YouTube that really helped fuel what I'm up to now. So, as I mentioned, I'm nearly 30 years in the commercial real estate business and focused on investment sales since 2010. I was recruited by Marcus and Millichap in 2014 to move back home here to Southern California. I'd started my career in Phoenix, and then to come back here and help open a new office for Marcus and Millichap in early 2015. And that's when I joined X, and I was surprised then. I knew about Twitter, but I never got on it. I'm not a political guy. I quit watching the news a long time ago. So that's all that was really on Twitter that I remembered pre-2015 was just, I don't need to go down those rabbit holes, right? Conspiracy theorists and all that other stuff. And so somebody within Marcus said, hey, how come you don't have a Twitter account? And I'm like, I don't need it. I'm not a Twitter guy. They're like, oh no, commercial real estate is very alive and well on Twitter. You should check it out. And so I did, and I checked it out, and I was instantly blown away by the presence of not only regional, but national and international commercial real estate firms that already had immense presence on Twitter. Unfortunately, I didn't really do a whole lot with it. I got on there and I didn't really do very much with it. I started following more sports stuff than I did commercial real estate stuff. But so fast forward to 2019 when I was doing presentations for the 1031 exchange, and upon some research is when I learned that more than 60% of exchanges fail every year. I thought, holy smokes, 60%. Well, at the time I was doing research for a presentation that it was basically the myths of the 1031 exchange. So I was doing some research just to find what myths that I could debunk. Well, in that research, I found that there at the time was more than 48. Now there's more than 50. I'm compiling a list of all the different myths that are online around the 1031 exchange, and there's more than 50 online now. That blew my mind. And when I saw all the different myths, I was like, well, no wonder that more than 60% of exchanges fail. So 2020 is when I launched the website, Best 1031 Online website, but I wasn't getting the traction that I wanted to get. And I was like, well, I know I need to do some online stuff. So then I went online and YouTube, started researching 1031 content on YouTube and TikTok. Now on YouTube, you'll find two avenues of 1031 content. Investors, some of those professional guys like Bigger Pockets and those guys, the YouTubers that have become more YouTubers than they are real estate investors, I think. At least that's what occurs to me. And qualified intermediary sites. They have great content on YouTube. They have great content online. But their content is really only surface deep. They talk about the rules, and timelines, and they don't go much deeper than that. They don't go into strategy. They do talk about the importance of planning, and that's about it. The more and more I looked, the more and more I realized that there are no commercial brokers that are concentrating their content on 1031 exchanges from the broker's point of view. I was fortunate that I came from a firm with some very active principals and got a baptism by fire in 1031 exchanges in the early 2000s. So I already knew my way around an exchange pretty well. So then I go to TikTok, and oh my gosh, the content that I was seeing on TikTok around 1031 exchange was mind-boggling.
Uh-oh.
Not because there's not. Even to this day, there's still not a lot. But the content that's on there was feeding the myths. Not only feeding the myths, but propagating. I don't know if that's the right word. Propagating myths and just flat out bad information, if not wrong information. People talking about, oh yeah, I sold my house and I changed into a much bigger house. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Because you can't do that. So that's what really set my
Hmm.
call it my soul on fire around wanting to. That's my number one focus. I want to cut that failure rate in half by 2030. And it's, in fact, there was something I was going to ask you if we can offline, you could show me how to do those where I've seen other TikTok influencers where they'll go find videos of another TikTok video and then they'll capture it and they'll go, do you see what this person's talking about? Do you see what this person's saying? And then I have to do that because there's some people out there that the content has to be called out. It has to be. So that's kind of where my TikTok whole thing is. And I just started really posting on TikTok this year.
Wow.
I didn't have a social media manager, but with the content that I'm doing for my YouTube channel,
yeah,
getting it edited, getting it clipped down to clips and reels and all that. So going back to you in your building your 1 million followers, so how often now, first of all, I'm going to ask, are you doing it all or do you have somebody scheduling your posts and all that? Are you doing all of it?
No, I do not do all of it anymore. I used to, but now I have a team of unbelievable professionals who help me edit. I have a podcast, Commercial Real Estate Secrets. All I do is sit down and record. I find guests sometimes. I get, guests. And then I sit down and record, and then I have a team that does everything else.
I'm ready to guess.
Well, we should just take this one and make it a Commercial Real Estate Secrets episode if you want, but we'll talk about that later.
Sure. I'm
okay.
all for it. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this episode in this series was I had to figure out a way to promote the CREI influencers. And so that's what this is going to be. I'm at two times a month. I'm going to have a fellow influencer on my YouTube channel, and we're going to do this. I happen to be doing who I consider the best of the best, which is why you're here.
Oh.
That I'm going to put a reel together prior to the summit coming up. So yeah, that's why I had you. Beth was on yesterday. I had Eddie G on today. I had Alan Buchanan, I had Linda Day Harrison, I had Knackle, I had Bo Barron. And these are all people that I know. You and Beth I've met. I wouldn't say that I know you necessarily, but I certainly hope that changes. But Joe, I know Joe Killinger, he was the first one, and Bo and I go back many years. BK, because of Massimo Group, many years. Alan Buchanan, same thing. So, and Eddie and I actually were at SBN at the same time in the same office in Phoenix. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of connections that I thought, I need to exploit my connections.
You got a star-studded lineup.
There you go.
I did the podcast because I knew I needed constant content. I had a baby.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. But
has it been a year yet?
Yes, we just eclipsed a year.
Okay.
But my brain, when you're pregnant, you have a newborn. This is not the time to record a podcast. So I had to pre-record everything so I could have content throughout my pregnancy. So the podcast, I don't have to sell this to you. The podcast is a way to create content in every format in one sitting, right? We're going to get long form. We're going to get audio. We're going to get short form. We're going to get LinkedIn posts. We're going to get TikTok, Twitter, all the MySpace, you name it. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody's on. But yes, the podcast for you and for me serve as the top of the funnel to a content strategy that is effective.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously I'll get shorts, reels. I will get shorts and reels out of this that I will forward to you that hopefully you'll share on your TikTok channel. Eddie this morning actually, while we were recording, pulled out his phone and went live on TikTok and said, "Hey, everybody, meet James Bean and follow James Bean and follow 1031 Broker James." And yeah, he is so cool.
He's good. He's good.
He's the stuff he does. I mean, I've watched your stuff. Your stuff is great. And you do have a very, what's the word I want to say, distinctive comedic style that you bring to your platform. Eddie, that guy is like a comedian doing commercial real estate. I mean, his bathtub things that, I don't even know if he still does that, but we talked about with Alan, his Tuesday traffic tips and how he did that from the front seat of his car. And he's got like 900 some odd videos of Tuesday traffic tips. I mean,
Wow.
It's crazy. So you do have a team now that does your things, and you're working on a scheduler. So now, do you plan out content ahead of time? Obviously, with the podcast, you do that. But how much of that? Because I know you were posting on TikTok long before the podcast.
Yeah. I try to post every day of the week. You know, we're still working on it, figuring it out. Look, I should be making short form content all day, every day, and doing the podcast all day, every day. And one day I will, but I'm also knee deep in transacting. And so, not to mention, trying to be mindful and present with my 1-year-old. There's all these factors that play into excuses why I'm not posting every single day. But we do schedule out now. We have a calendar and pre-schedule content that my team helps me post. And then I post as much as possible or when I'm inspired, right? So I have found if you authentically enjoy making the video and it's got great information, the audience can sense that and it tends to do well. If I'm just repeating something boring, results follow suit. So
Right.
there's I talk about authenticity, right? You can lie about a lot on the internet, but a lot of people can sniff out authenticity. I think it just is obvious, and people can sniff it out. And if you don't authentically like what you do, it's not a long-term, it's impossible to do long-term because this is a long game. And B, people can tell. So I authentically love what I do, authentically like sharing it with people, and it comes across. And I know some brokers struggle because maybe they aren't excited to get in front of a camera and chat. But thankfully, the internet provides opportunities for written content, opportunities for visual content, and audio. Right? So there's a shoe for every foot if you want to be a marketer and sell your product. So,
How much AI are you using?
a lot.
Yeah, so I just stumbled across to this one thing that I'm very excited about, Lumen 5.
Okay.
So you can take a blog. So I
Okay.
blog twice a month, have been for going on 3 years now, and have been, blogging with Linda for actually, I think it's almost 5. I started really blogging a lot more in 2020, which, blogging is still something very powerful. Part of my challenge with all my content is, you can only get so interesting and sexy about the 1031. It's just not a sexy subject, and not everybody does them, right? Even from an investor standpoint. So that's been my challenge, is to really find, because not only is the investor my target, but real estate agents.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, real estate agents have a lot of responsibility to take for the fact that so many exchanges fail. People forget it's a real estate transaction. So anyways, with Lumen 5, you can take a blog, drop it in, and give it a prompt similar to ChatGPT, works the exact same way, and it'll create a video reel in a minute.
Wow.
It'll take your blog. You can do short form, long form. You can do, horizontal, vertical, and it does it like instant. And it'll read your blog, and then it'll come up and it'll say, okay, here's the tag words or things that we see. And then it'll run a search and it'll say, we ran this many 100 searches and came up with this many 100 assets that we feel will be a good fit for your reel. And then boom, unreal.
Yeah.
Absolute game changer for me.
Yeah. Wow.
Among other things. What platform are you using the most?
Oh, probably ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is a perfect example. Rod in coaching said, he does this, maybe a prompt a month. What's the prompt? Big, beautiful bill.
Oh, yeah.
How does that affect owners? How does that affect tenants? So what do? Prompt it. I'm a broker. And we're going to use the owner and tenants' pain points as a sales, let's use their pain points to drive the point across, right? Yep. So make type into chat, I'm a commercial real estate, industrial real estate broker in Denver, Colorado. The big, beautiful bill just passed, and I would like you to use psychology and sales and touch on pain points to tell warehouse owners and tenants how the Big Beautiful Bill affects them. And then that's going to go out in my Warehouse Wednesday email. And it's also going to go out on all my social platforms as visual content. My virtual assistants would love me to make videos about it, but I don't, and I should. No, I'm just kidding. And the craziest part, people get the email. When a warehouse owner emailed me back, I haven't seen anybody do anything like this. This is great.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. The Big Beautiful Bill was hugely impactful. And you still have to learn what's going on. So you could talk the talk and walk the walk. However, you don't have to type it out perfectly because chat's going to do that for you while educating you on exactly what you ask of it. Which for me was, what is the impact of the Big Beautiful Bill for warehouse owners and tenants in Colorado? That's a pretty specific search.
Yeah. And you probably got great content out of it.
Yeah, fantastic. And I learned all about it too. So
bonus.
Yeah. Who would have thought? No, it's I say it every day. I don't know what we did before we had this, because whoa, it is powerful. So
last question I wanted to ask you is the inspiration for the warehouse outline. So me being an old school guy, I hear that and it's like, it's a great name, but it's not Denver, Colorado specific.
Well, that's why I recently made Aspen commercialrealestate.com, but we're talking about warehouse hotline. I noticed that in commercial real estate, let me reverse. It was the pandemic and my mom's at the grocery store. She's at the Clorox, the all-purpose cleaner section. Or I think I was at the grocery store and she's like, I need 409. And I was like, the 409's gone. Like, can I just get you the white label, the Kurt, whatever? And she's like, generic, no, generic. No, I need 409. And it was like, boom, branding. And then I look at my industry and my competition and it's all last names and color schemes. And I go, oh my gosh, there's no branding in this industry. I had been at the time, I had my own company, my last name and company, like so many brokers do, Sonenreich and Company. I had been building our online presence at that time. And I knew that our sales would always be online driven because it was leading in that direction. So I realized that if I branded our company and put it on the internet, when somebody Googles Sell My Warehouse Denver, any iteration of transacting a warehouse in Denver, I want our company to come up first, and I want it to say what we do in the title.
Right.
And so the warehouse hotline was born, and spoiler alert, it works. So, and it's like I said, 1031 broker James, you brand yourself immaculately.
I haven't done a lot of smart things, but the second smart thing I did in regards to my branding was that I went out and got all my handles, and also all my handles are the same across all platforms at 1031 Broker James. Because I've even had people on this episode where that is not the case. I'm not going to call them out, but they have 2 or 3 handles to deal with, and including my social media manager. We were just on our weekly call this week. I was like, that was something that she's like, yeah, that was really smart. You did that. I don't even have the same handle for all of my platforms, and a couple of them I can't get now. And so, yeah, and when it comes to planning your branding and all that, details matter. It does. Okay. Yeah. So all your channels. So you have the podcast is Commercial Real Estate Secrets.
Yes.
You can find that pretty much anywhere you find any podcast.
All streaming platforms.
Okay. Are you on YouTube with that as well?
Yes.
Awesome. And your handle on social media is?
At Aviva Real Estate.
At Aviva Real Estate. Across the board. Awesome. Well, I can tell you that if you're watching this, go find her on Instagram and TikTok. Her video content is outstanding. There's content for everybody, the business owners, the tenants, the owner users, and the landlords of industrial property. Excellent content. I enjoy watching your stuff. Again, thank you for being here. You shared a 1031 story, so we can wrap up with this. Is you get to say my tagline.
Okay.
which is because the best 1031 is a successful 1031.
I can get behind that because the best 1031 is a successful 1031.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me today.
Hey, thank you, Aviva. I appreciate it very much. I look forward to shaking your hand, maybe clinking a glass when we're in the Palm Desert.
Up here in a couple weeks. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Alrighty. Thank you.